From the News Channel 5 Network, this is OpenLine.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to OpenLine. Exciting night. It is open phones. That means I'm going to take your phone calls. Call in with your thoughts on the presidential election. We did this last week, and it was a lot of fun. Very interesting to hear where people are coming from, what they think. Tonight, I want to talk a little bit about policy and a little bit about the horse race as far as the presidential election is concerned. Where are some of these battleground states leaning at this point? Has the race changed dramatically as a result of the FBI announcing it's opening a new investigation, or at least looking into those emails? There's some question about the exact wording there, looking into some other emails that were found on Uma Abedin's computer involving Hillary Clinton. So much to talk about, and I want to do so in a civil, respectful way. But I want to hear from you. And again, last week, very interesting as people called in with all kinds of different points of view. And I think we hear enough from pundits. It's interesting to hear what each of you has to say. And I always learn a lot when we do open phones. We did open phones all the time on Morning Line. Now a chance to do it on OpenLine. As I look around, as calls come in, there's the number 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. Just some of the headlines. Poll wrap. Clinton leads Trump in battleground states of Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. Another headline. Donald Trump calls for special congressional session to repeal Obamacare. He's really hitting on Obamacare hard in the final days of the campaign. He's speaking, of course, about that FBI, the letter they sent regarding Clinton's emails, but he's also talking a lot about Obamacare. And then, of course, as emails are scoured, FBI's handling of other probes raises questions. So people are questioning, did the FBI do the right thing? Was it appropriate to announce that they are looking into other emails in regard to Hillary Clinton? As far as toss-up states at this point, well, North Carolina and Florida are now both considered toss-ups. Florida especially has gone back and forth. North Carolina is one that a lot of people thought Clinton was leading in, at one point perhaps even comfortably. Now that's been moved to a toss-up. Maine, New Hampshire also toss-ups. Clinton's firewall states, Colorado, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. She's expected to win those, but if she were to lose those, that's when you would begin to see some real concern coming out of Hillary Clinton's campaign. So what I want to do tonight, take your calls. I'll also put up my my Facebook address, and you can comment there. I'll read your comments. We'll also play some past comments from each of the candidates. But let's go to the phones now. Let's go to Jay. Hello, Jay.
Good evening, Ben.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
My sister just got back from a business trip in Ohio, and she said it was nothing but Trump signs. That's all she could see. And also, I just wondered, these polls, they drive me crazy.
Yeah.
Just don't understand the polls. And, I've seen, my dad remembers, when Reagan was down a percentage, and then he winds up winning in a landslide. And I just wondered what your thoughts on polls were, and I'll hang up. Thank you.
All right, that's a good question. Everyone has a story about a time a poll was wrong. And the Ronald Reagan situation, now that was obviously a long time ago. Polls are much more sophisticated now. Hillary Clinton, 4 years ago against Barack Obama, or that would have been 8 years ago against Barack Obama, she was expected to lose in New Hampshire. Every poll had her losing, and then she won. That was a surprise, there's no doubt. You will find these times that there are surprises. The reality is, and some polls are much better than others, but the reality is that polling is so sophisticated now that they're certainly worthy of your attention. Things are changing. They're always changing, and a poll is a snapshot in time. And by the time you're reporting the poll, that time is already past. You're reporting on past history. So I think these polls are valuable for kind of seeing where things are, where they have been. I think that this email thing has certainly stopped the momentum that Clinton had. Whether it's enough, I don't know. I go to this site, 538, Nate Silver. He worked for the New York Times. He averages polls. And he said Donald Trump's chances of winning have doubled in the last week. Now he has, I think it's 65%, 35%, approximately 65% that Hillary would win, 35% chance that Donald Trump would win. That's not the split of the vote, just the chance that each would win. So I think polls are valuable to look at. You need to know, of course, that things can change and it's not a definitive result, of course, but as sophisticated as they are, it's hard to ignore what they give. We were getting signs, you were getting signs about what was going to happen with Mitt Romney and Barack Obama 4 years ago. And I think you had a clear indication of what was the way things were going. The question is, what kind of impact in this race, what kind of impact does this FBI announcement have? So what I want to do is we will play clips throughout the night. The big issue has, of course, been the email situation. I want to play a story now from CBS that kind of gives you all the background you need to know on that.
Step back. Step back.
CBS News has learned that FBI Director James Comey has been calling members of Congress who've demanded that he release more information about the review of the new emails. Comey is under fire for making the disclosure 11 days before the election.
How are the voters, how is the public supposed to respond to this? And there's simply no way for the public to make an informed judgment.
In a letter addressed to the FBI director Sunday, Democratic Senator Harry Reid accused Comey of partisan actions and alleged that he may have broken the law by violating the Hatch Act. It bans most federal and some other government employees from participating in political activities that could help or hurt a partisan group or candidate in a partisan election. Investigators seized the laptop belonging to longtime Clinton aide Huma Abedin and estranged husband Anthony Weiner during a separate probe into Weiner's alleged communication with an underage girl. CBS News has learned the FBI deliberated over whether to disclose the information. Officials debated whether they'd be accused of trying to manipulate the election by hiding the renewed investigation if criminal evidence was found. A person familiar with the process says officials ultimately concluded that the letter was the most credible approach after Comey pledged to inform Congress if anything new came up related to the investigation into Clinton's use of the private email server.
We would certainly look at any new and substantial information.
What the decision this week showed is even 11 days before an election, no one is above the law.
Law enforcement sources say Abedin is cooperating and seemed surprised that the emails were on the laptop. Jeff Begays, CBS News, Washington.
That is no doubt the latest fascinating twist in this campaign, and it just came out of nowhere. I mean, you hear how the Clinton campaign even learned about it. They were on a plane, they were talking about other things, and then all of a sudden, reporters who were kind of out of Wi-Fi range got some indication on their phones, but they weren't sure until they landed that this had actually broken. And that's how the Clinton campaign found out about it. When they landed their plane, it was confirmed to them, and they were stunned. So that's a huge development in a campaign that's had all kinds of twists and turns. So tonight, again, your chance to call in. What do you think? You want to say how you're going to vote? That's fine. Say why you want to vote for the person. Maybe not just because the other person is bad, though plenty of people are voting against someone in this election. There's no doubt about that. We're going to talk about some of the issues: immigration, the economy, abortion, the Second Amendment. We'll have comments from the candidates on each of those issues. So if you want to call in, there's the number, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. We'll take a break, open up the phone lines, take your calls. Be back right after this.